The big news everybody's talking about right now is the fact that the United States government has just parked a Nimitz-class aircraft carrier off the coast of Syria. The USS Eisenhower is there, and apparently they have up to 10,000 troops ready to go if something were to happen in Syria. They're claiming, they being the US government, that if Syria uses chemical weapons on its own people, then they will go in and provide a strong reaction against the Assad regime. And another action they've taken is that they have given Turkey Patriot missiles in case Turkey would need to use them against any possible Syrian actions. So this comes after the string of U.S. foreign policy successes in Egypt, in Libya, and elsewhere. And of course with Libya, they started with the bombings and they said there would be no troops on the ground, and well, what do you know, troops were on the ground within a very short time of us being involved there, and they admitted that. And then with Egypt, there was no intervention, but there was a big pressure from the U.S. government, and elsewhere, we pressured them. We said we're going to cut off some foreign aid if you don't get your act together. And then of course they come in and they get the new prime minister, or new president, and then not prime minister, president, and the U.S. government, they claim it's a success. There was a big uproar about the Arab Spring. Everybody thinks that the Middle East is ready for democracy, and then of course no. A few months after the election, which was this past summer, everybody's rioting again, and the cops are tear gassing everybody just like they were before. So now we got Syria, and it looks like it could go down a similar path, although it seems to be much worse, certainly much worse than Egypt, and maybe much worse than Libya, because the regime is very entrenched and there are a lot more bad things going on in Syria than was going on in Egypt and Libya. Also, if you go back and you look at the history, the colonial power in Syria was mainly French. France came in and they had positions in Syria. And then, of course, who's coming back along with the United States? Apparently France has some special operations troops ready to go, along with the U.S. And not only does the U.S. have that aircraft carrier there, but they have an amphibious warship. Those are the big new things that they have been talking about recently. Russia has a lot of them, and they're building more. And of course, we're sending one. We've got one next to our aircraft carrier ready to go. I hate to say it's ingrained from you at the start, I don't own any aircraft carrier. It's common for people to say our government. I try not to say that, but it's a habit. I'm trying to break free of it because the government is a separate entity for me. I want nothing to do with them, but I live in this country, so I guess that's just how it is. They raise you to say that it's your government and try and make you feel like you are an owner when you are in reality a tax slave. But that's besides the point. So anyway, hopefully they won't go in and cause too much trouble, as they always do. But I'm sure if they do, it'll be another bloodbath. I think Syria is much more serious than any Libyan or Egyptian intervention, just because of how unstable it is and what is happening on the ground right now. Definitely keep an eye on this. I noticed when I first heard the news, of course, who's breaking the news? It was all the alternative media sites and the Reason.com, I think, is where I first read it, and then Zero Hedge, and then of course the day after, the mainstream media is all over it, and that's just further evidence of how the mainstream media is lagging behind the real news sources that can get you information hours or days in advance before anyone else will want to cover it. So keep an eye on it. Hopefully nothing will happen, but that's how it stands right now, and they say they're ready to go within days if Assad does use alleged chemical weapons. Thanks for watching.